Hello and welcome to the Etch Play video. I'm Adam Burt and I'm joined by driving expert Dan Thomas. Hello Dan.
Hello, how are we doing, Adam?
I'm good because we are going to Mexico. We are playing Forza Horizon 5. This is the just released sequel to the Forza Horizon series, available on Xbox Series X and S and probably other Xboxes as well. I haven't actually checked that. And it's available on PC as well, which is nice. We're going to take a little look at the game, and you can already tell that it's a beautiful game. And yeah, we're going to show off some races, have a good time. How does that sound?
That sounds wonderful. I'd love to be taken to Mexico, so let's go.
Just a quick gander at the accessibility options there. The game has a lot of accessibility options, which I think we're really impressed by. It's always a good sign when studios do that, so thank you to Playground Games for putting those in. It's a wonderful initiative.
Well done, Playground.
This could get a little rough.
So here's one of the intro segments to the game. This is quite near the beginning. Hopefully not too many spoilers, but obviously seeing the game at all when you could be playing it is kind of a spoiler, so if you like the look of it, just go and play it. This is the jungle sequence at the beginning of the game. And, I mean, straight away, this game is just good looking.
This is a beautiful game, and you're straight into the action again, like in Forza 4. I remember you made a Horizon 4, you made a video about that. Good, straight into the action.
Yes, so this is near the beginning of the game. Basically, the plane that you'll see is a plane that flies around. It kind of drops you off straight into the middle of races near the beginning of the game, which is quite a fun little gimmick. We'll try a bit more of that in a second as well, actually, probably. But yeah, I mean, Forza Horizon 4 did get a Series X upgrade. Already was a very good-looking game, and somehow Forza Horizon 5 just takes all of that to the next level. If you have played Forza Horizon 4, you do know what you're getting into here. Like, structurally, very similar in terms of the way the game's put together, with the open world map, and you can drive around it to find events and races you want to participate in. And its driving line, and the way the driving feels is very familiar, so you'll be right at home if you played Forza Horizon before. But yeah, what a technical showcase it is for the Xbox Series X and for PCs as well, who are well equipped to deal with it and show us some of this visual richness.
You're enjoying your Series X upgrade with this game.
Yeah, definitely. It's probably the game so far I'd say is the best example of what the Series X can do visually and performance-wise. Obviously, you at home, you're watching it on like a Twitch stream or a YouTube, which is, compressed beyond belief. So hopefully it looks good for you as well, but in real life it looks pretty special.
And do you notice that in all aspects? Any issue with the load times or anything like that? Or has it all been fairly fluid?
Load time's been good so far. They do exist. It's not loading free. You will spot some, but yeah, it's very well optimized so far. So here's another segment, and this will show you what I was talking about with playing. Like, this is going to drop me off mid-race, just for fun.
I mean, what better way to join a race than jumping out the back of an airplane?
Exactly.
That's how I do it.
So the last Forza Horizon 4 took place in the UK, like a condensed representation of the UK, and this one is Mexico, obviously. Mexico is very geographically diverse, which the game takes a lot of advantage of. You see we've got these kind of desert-style environments. There's a volcano, there's the jungle we were just in, there's, quaint little towns with, nice Mexican vibes. I went way too far off the track there. Yeah, variety is definitely one of the strengths of the game as well, just in terms of the environments and also the race types that you're able to get into. Maybe we'll show off a different kind of event in a minute as well, rather than being all speed-based.
So Adam, this game was extremely well received critically. A lot of hype. You were a little bit apprehensive because you loved Forza Horizon 4. Do you think this is living up to the hype?
I do. I think it's very much cut from that Forza Horizon 4 cloth. Forza Horizon 4 was a big step up from previous racing games that I had played, and this isn't as big of a step. Like Forza Horizon 4 got so much right that a lot of it just rolls over and carries into this. But there are little improvements to the way things put together. I think so far at least, the events that I've played and the structure of those events feels a little bit more forgiving here, a little bit better structure. Forza Horizon 4 was really structured around earning enough to do a showcase event to move on between seasons, and this is a lot more almost freeform. I think notably actually in the story in this, so in Forza Horizon 4 you start as like just a guy who becomes a superstar through the events of the game. In this game you start as a superstar. They're like, your character's a legend, we love you, you can already do whatever you want. So there's not as much kind of gatekeeping, I guess, where it's like you have to earn your way to do certain things. In this, all the other characters just love you and they're like, come and race in my thing, please. Which is nice.
Please welcome our #1 superstar to Horizon Mexico. Hey, the cargo doors are opening. You want me to show
So here's one of those showcase races I just mentioned. They are still in the game. Showcase races are events where, rather than racing against cars, they throw in other stuff. So here there's motorbikes being dropped out of a plane in front of me. And these races have a lot of rubber banding. It's quite obvious that the game is quite forgiving about making you feel cool. It has a rewind mechanic, which I will be using regularly because I am bad at driving. Yeah, let's just rewind that. Pretend that didn't happen. Come on.
So, for anybody who's not aware, rubber banding, what do you mean?
So if the enemies or the opponents get too far ahead, they kind of slow down and let you catch up. The events do it to different levels. I think it depends on your difficulty level as well. I'm playing on normal here. If you turn the difficulty right down, it's extremely noticeable, but the cars ahead of you just basically stop when you stop. But in these kinds of events, it's a bit noticeable that, like, even if I was doing badly like I am, I'm hitting a lot of things, I've hit the wall a couple of times. The motorbikes are still pretty close, so they're still catchable.
And that's a great mechanic. Like, it just keeps it fun, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
you don't just want to be left for dead and just be driving around by yourself. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
I think one of the big things about Forza Horizon as a series, especially compared to Forza Motorsport, which is their more traditional simulation racing, Forza Horizon is only interested in making you feel cool. They don't really care about the sanctity of whether you deserve to win these events. They just care about whether you're having a good time, which is actually what I appreciate because, yeah, I'm not a good driver. Although I took that corner very well. Were you impressed with that corner?
I was until you nearly veered into the barrier just straight after.
Oh, that was still better than I would usually do.
An interesting release process. You had the kind of early access for special edition purchases. You're playing this on Game Pass, which is a day one Game Pass. Is that right?
Yes, although I guess it kind of defeats the point of the words day one Game Pass if you can get it on a previous day by buying it. It's essentially Game Pass at launch, I guess, is a way of putting it. That guy now has a wingsuit. Basically, they just love those Top Gear segments where cars race against things that aren't cars, and they're like, let's put those in the game all the time. I wonder if I won. Yeah, I did.
You feel cool.
I do feel quite cool. I just beat a guy in a wingsuit in a real race.
It is cool. It's a cool thing to, tell your mum. But yeah, I did see a stat. I think there was something like 800,000 people playing the game before the official release date. So clearly an effective strategy to have that kind of premium early access approach.
Yeah, definitely. So let's show off one of the events that's maybe not quite as racing-y as some of the other ones. This is quite a cool one near the start of the game. You'll notice now I'm in the open world, I'm just driving around doing my thing. Other players are also driving around in this world with me, which makes it feel quite alive, which is nice, and you'll see the dust storm on the horizon, which is where we're going, because we're going to start the El Camino story. So there is still a speed element here, but I guess it's presented in a slightly different way. This storyline is about photographing aspects of the festival. And in this first one, we're going to drive into the eye of the dust storm and take some photography of our car.
asked for pictures of all the cars at the festival. It's called Horizon Promo, and obviously, we want action shots, fast ones.
I can do fast. Let's go.
Great script racing.
For Horizon Promo, you just need to take a picture of your car, but it'll look
So yeah, there is a sort of like a, you can get more points for doing it quickly, but ultimately the goal here is not to beat other people in like a race or complete a lap. It's to go somewhere and do something cool. The dust storm is a great way to show off, you know, some of the systems in the game.
Some people believe mysterious things happen in
I haven't fully played enough to understand how the dust storms work. I don't know whether they are like random in some way. They seem to not always be in the same place. They seem to move around a little bit.
How do some of the multiplayer aspects work? So we've seen other people in the world with you, but there's also kind of the avatars and ghost representations of people.
Yes, so when you're driving around in free roam, it will just automatically try and drop other humans into your world and like group you together to make your world feel alive. If you want to, you can like do minimal chat with them with like some controls like beep at them, say hi and all that kind of stuff. You can form convoys with them if you hang out together and enter races together. Then there is a sort of separate multiplayer mode, which is deliberately I want to do races not in the open world. I just want to jump straight into being on a track somewhere, and that will matchmake in a kind of traditional matchmaking fashion. And then the drive avatars, which is a really interesting system that the Forza series has had for a while, is it learns about the way that each person who plays any Forza game drive, and it tries to do an impression of them, basically, an AI impression of what they would drive like. So when you're playing, you'll see your friends' names from your friends list in a lot of your races, if they've ever played a Forza game of any kind, because it will be doing an impression of that, what that person should race like in the game's opinion. So I have actually raced you, Dan. Maybe we'll get into a race in a minute. Maybe I'll see if I can find you somewhere. Just getting my photography on here. I feel like I should be. I'm not a photographer. I'm not a natural photographer at all. I don't know what would look good here. Would it look good over here? Let's just take it like this.
Yeah, I can see you hunting for the right composition.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's just an example, so let's just go with that. Let's get into a cross-country race. Cross-country races are some of my favourites because they're the races that don't really take place on traditional tracks. They kind of go off-road and you have to smash things up. And there's a good chance we might see Dan here somewhere. Well, I can see Ben Gammon up ahead. Look, Gambo in 5th place. And Paul McCaskey there. He might be watching, you never know.
Hello, Paul.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
See, this is off-road, it's tricky. Luckily I've got the rewind function, so I can just rewind this all the way back.
Is there a limit on how much you can rewind?
I don't think there is. I think you can just do as much as you want. Obviously you can't do that when you're playing multiplayer against real people. That would be really annoying for them.
A little bit jarring.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see how these races, I mean, there's a loose sense of track here, but there's no actual track, which I find more enjoyable. These are the events that I seek out, and you do have a lot of choice. Like, you can choose whether you prefer, you know, racing on the streets of towns and cities, racing on tracks, racing cross-country, racing larger style in like desert, sandy tracks. There's really a lot of choice in the event types, and kind of something for everyone, I guess, is what Forza Horizon brings to the table. Like, no matter what kind of racer you are, there's probably a lot of events in here that will appeal to you, and enough of them that you can progress through the game without having to do the ones you don't really want to do.
And do you think it's a good game for perhaps people who aren't into driving games or racing games? To that variety help make it a bit more inclusive, perhaps, and these kind of difficulty settings and things?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, accessibility options and the difficulty, flexibility, the variety. It's a great game for first timers or for gamers who maybe haven't got on with racing games in the past. I definitely, before Forza Horizon 4, wouldn't have considered myself much of a racing game fan. There have been racing games that I've liked, but Forza Horizon 4 really turned me around on the concept of them, and I'm glad that. Oh no! I'm glad that that this is kind of continuing that tradition of being hyper accessible, hyper flexible, and just great fun to play and good to look at.
And I assume there's other kind of beyond just kind of the racing. There's like a collectible kind of mechanics and lots of other kind of metagame type modes and things.
There's loads of cars to collect, loads of levels to unlock, houses you can buy, customization options for clothing, all sorts of things you can get. I came third there, not my best, but I'll live with it. And yeah, it's the total package. Like, they've really refined this. You were in that race somewhere. You came 9th.
Oh, so it's not that accurate then.
And yeah, I just think it really good game and well worth checking out. So one of the best of 2021 so far, and it has my recommendation.
Nice.
That's someone's victory dance, and we're going to throw it back to the studio. Thanks for joining me, Dan.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on a future Etch Play video. Take care.
Bye.